Hey everybody, it's Andrew back again with another video, and today we have a really good convertible by Asus. It's the Asus Zenbook 14 Flip OLED, the UP3404, and I think it's probably one of the best two-in-one convertibles I've seen here in 2023. There's a couple of things going for it. It's got a gorgeous 14-inch OLED display, 90 hertz refresh rate, 16:10 aspect ratio, 0.2 millisecond response time, and it's absolutely gorgeous, 550 nits of peak brightness. It's also running a very efficient processor compared to the 8 series. Here we have the Core i7-1360P. That's a 28-watt CPU with 12 cores. Now, as far as the overall aesthetics, it's got a beautiful ponder blue color. It's a convertible, so you can use it in the different modes, and a whole host of other features. Really good here in terms of the price, I think. I think they're giving you a lot, especially giving you a pen and a sleeve in the box. So yeah, a lot to like here, certainly here for 2023. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is my review of the Asus Zenbook 14 Flip OLED here for 2023. Coming up.
Now, before we get to the unit itself, I just want to let everyone know, in the interest of transparency and full disclosure, I'm not being paid by Asus, I'm not being sponsored by Asus. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Asus is not getting copy approval. That means you're seeing this video for the first time, just like you. Now, this unit was purchased with my own money. This is not a review unit from Asus. Pricing starts at $999, but pricing here today from the unit I picked up from Best Buy, $1,199.99. For those interested, I'll leave a link in the description below for more information and where you can buy one. Now, I already did my unboxing and first look at this unit. For those that didn't see it, I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. But basically what you have to know, all metal design here. This is the Ponder Blue finish. It's a very nice design, very nice aesthetics here as far as the way it looks, and really rock solid design, very, very solid in terms of the chassis, very little give or flex. So really good overall build. And when I looked at it in that unboxing video, very impressed with the overall package here. And real briefly, inside the box, you get your USB Type-C power adapter, 65 watts. You also get the Asus Pen 2.0. Love the fact that's included in the box. There's no additional cost, so that's a good value add right there. They also give you the USB Type-A to RJ45 gigabit Ethernet adapter, like that. And they also give you a sleeve here to carry this around. All told, a really nice package for a really good price. Now, for the unit alone, you're looking at 1.503 kilograms or 3.13 pounds. And you're looking at a total travel weight of 1.925 kilograms or 4.243 pounds. Now, I went over the ports in my unboxing video, but for those that didn't see it, we have a USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 2 port. That's on the left side. That's the only port there. Now, moving over to the right side, two USB Type-C Thunderbolt 4 ports that supports full function, supporting data, charge, and display out. You get a 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack, and one HDMI 2.1 TMDS port to round out the ports on this laptop. I would say all in all, this convertible has some pretty good port selections. Notably missing, no SD card reader would have been great, although that is pretty much the case for most convertibles here in 2023. But as I mentioned in the unboxing video, they do give you that USB-A to RJ45 gigabit Ethernet adapter in the box at no additional cost. Now, Asus could make it a little bit easier to get in. There are a couple of screws underneath the top back feet there, so you will want to remove those to get to those screws. But that being said, once you do that, the T5 Torx screws are easily removed here, and just use a guitar pick or a pry tool to pry off the bottom plate. Now, let's talk about internals and user upgradability. But before we do that, you can notice the single fan for cooling here. We'll get into the thermal performance in just a little bit. And you'll notice that 4-cell 75 watt-hour battery. We'll get into the battery life later on in this review. But as far as what's user upgradable, the M.2 PCIe Gen 4 SSD is user upgradable, although the speeds could be a little bit better, although certainly fast enough for what you need this convertible laptop to do. But I've seen faster on Gen 4. Certainly you can add your own storage here, and that is always welcome indeed. Now, unfortunately, the RAM is soldered into the motherboard, which is pretty much the case for most laptops here in 2023. With that being said, we're looking at 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM running in dual channel mode. Pretty good good in terms of the performance, no issues on that front, although I would like to have a 32 gigabyte option. I don't think there is one. And I think 16 is certainly good here in 2023, but the option of 32 would certainly be better. Now, as far as the wireless, you're looking at Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3. That combo card is slotted in, not soldered in, so if you need to change it out down the road, you have that option. Now, as far as the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, both working flawlessly, no issues in either front. Okay, let's go over the display here. It's a good one, folks. 14 inches, 2.8K OLED display with a 2880 by 1800 resolution. That's a 16:10 aspect ratio. And check this out, 0.2 millisecond response time, 90 hertz refresh rate, and 550 nits of peak brightness when you're consuming HDR content, 398 nits for standard dynamic range. So very good in terms of the screen brightness. Now, it is a glossy display, so you will notice glare and reflections, of course, depending on your lighting conditions, so just keep that in mind. But overall, I think it's bright enough for certainly for indoor use and even outdoor use, again, except direct sunlight, you might have some issues. Now, as far as the coverage of the color gamut, it's excellent here, and color accuracy is excellent as well. So if you're a content creator looking to do Lightroom, Photoshop, video editing on this display, this certainly covers you here. You'll definitely get a good result out of it, that's for sure. Now, of course, this being a 2-in-1 convertible means you can put it into the different modes. You got the tent mode, which is great for presentations in a closed-door meeting, or, of course, you could always put it into the stand mode, which is great as well for presentations. And then, of course, you could put it into the tablet mode, great for use with the Asus Pen 2.0. Now, this uses the Microsoft Pen Protocol 2.0, so you can use other pens that are compatible for that technology as well. But the included pen here, nice value add, great for taking notes, sketching at artwork. You're looking at 4,096 levels of pressure sensitivity, give you some extra pen tips. You also charge, of course, via USB Type-C, so you don't have to worry about getting any batteries or anything like that. And my experience has been with the pen as far as taking notes, sketching at artwork, everything worked as you'd expect. A very good experience indeed. Now, this pretty much has the same camera as the clamshell, the Asus Zenbook 14X OLED for 2023. So I'm not going to really go over it that much. Same clarity, same microphones in terms of the array mics. Overall, very good quality, but let me know what you think in the comment section below. All right, let's talk about performance, and this has the Intel Core i7 1360p, a 28-watt CPU. We've seen it before. It has 12 cores, 8 efficient cores, and 4 performance cores. And as you can see from these benchmark results, good single and multi-core performance. So if you're going to do things such as Microsoft Office, email, web browsing, everyday tasks, everything worked really well. Consuming media worked really well. And as you can see from the Cinebench R23 score here, very good single core, and of course, multi-core score here. So it's a very capable processor. We've seen it many times here in 2023, and it's been very good. Now, as far as the graphics, this employs integrated Iris Xe graphics. We've seen it before, 96 executional units, and I wouldn't call it a game changer in terms of graphics performance. You won't be doing high-end 4K video editing. You won't be playing AAA titles on their highest settings. Well, that being said, you can lower some of the settings, can get some playable frame rates on some of the more popular titles such as GTA 5, Witcher 3, Dota 2 Reborn. However, Cyberpunk 2077 didn't do very well with this chipset. I would look for something with a discrete GPU, as that is a very intensive graphics, processor-intensive game, as we know. Now, as far as the thermal throttling, good news on that front. I didn't detect very much thermal throttling. It got a score of 96.7% on the TimeSpy stress test, detecting very little, if any, thermal throttling. Although it didn't pass, it got very close to the 97% passing score. So that's been pretty good. Now, as far as the surface temperatures, also good news on that front. It never heated up by the keyboard. It never got overly hot where you put your fingers, of course. And on the other side, there was a few hot spots by where the heat dissipates, where the CPU is, of course, but never overly hot either. And then, of course, on the side where the heat dissipates from some of the vents, not too bad either. So I would say overall, pretty decent job when it comes to the surface temperatures of this laptop under heavy load. Now, when it comes to the fan noise, I did notice the fans kick in here. 54 decibels is pretty noticeable when you're under heavy load, but when you're in the balance mode or in the quiet mode, you're not going to really notice it all that much. Now, the My Asus app allows you to change the different thermal profiles, and that is great in terms of the user having a lot of control at their fingertips. Now, when it comes to battery life, this sports the same 75 watt-hour battery that we saw on the Asus Zenbook 14X OLED, and this did 12 hours and 26 minutes on the PC Mark X Modern Office battery test. Now contrast that with the Zenbook 14X OLED, which did 9 hours and 44 minutes. So we're seeing a nice improvement over the clamshell. And we're also seeing better battery life when it comes to the video playback test, 10 hours and 57 minutes versus 9 hours and 10 minutes. Just keep in mind that everybody's use case is a little bit different, so you may get a different result and your mileage may vary. Now, as far as the hinges are concerned, you can open the lid with one finger, something pretty unusual for a 2-in-1 convertible, not something you normally can do. That's pretty good. Now, as far as the hinges, they're on pretty tight. I saw very little, if any, screen wobble, something that plagues a lot of other 2-in-1 convertibles, not the case with this one. Now, let's talk keyboard here, and I like the layout here. I like the tactility of the keyboard. Feels really good for typing out long documents, emails, and the like. Very good indeed, so I've had no issue with that at all, and I thought the typing experience was very good. Now, as far as the multi-stage backlight, that worked well, allowing you to get work done in a dark room or dimly lit environment. That it was really good. Now, as far as the touchpad, of course, this has that ScreenPad 2.0. That worked out pretty well for those number crunchers who in a pinch need to get a numeric keypad, although I think a little bit gimmicky to some extent. You still would want a dedicated numeric keypad, but in a pinch, it certainly might come in handy. Now, as far as scrolling, doing all the gestures on this touchpad, very, very responsive. No issues on either front. Everything works as you'd expect. Good job there. Now, when it comes to the audio, I thought it was actually really good. Now, we're looking at bottom-firing speakers, they're Harman Kardon tuned, and I thought the volume was really good, very rich and full for a convertible laptop, so that was pretty impressive. And I thought the overall sound was pretty decent, mids, decent bass here. So I want you to be the judge. Let's give it a listen. You tell me what you think in the comment section below. Now, let's give it a listen. Okay, let's wrap it all up. The Asus Zenbook 14 Flip OLED here for 2023 is very impressive. Stunning 2.8K OLED display, 90 hertz refresh rate, 550 nits of peak brightness. I love the pen support, and I love the fact they include the Asus Pen 2.0 in the box at no additional cost. Slick design, great battery life, runs cool under load, good port selection, and a great bang for the buck overall. The negatives are the soldered RAM, the fingerprint magnet in terms of that case, reflective displays, and of course noticeable fan noise under load. Those are all the negatives, but they are not deal breakers by any stretch, ladies and gentlemen. I think Asus has a solid convertible laptop here, an excellent choice if you're in the market for a 2-in-1 convertible, and I have no hesitation recommending it here for 2023.
So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and that platform formerly known as Twitter. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.